Hello and welcome to the YouTube channel The Creations Resources. We are looking at Indian knowledge system in the context of national education policy. So IKS in the context of NEP 2020, and in the previous episode we have looked at the vision for IKS in NEP 2020. So we considered the strategic initiatives. We also looked at the implementation mechanisms and the anticipated outcomes and challenges here. And we mentioned that we will be creating digital content here on this YouTube channel, Decreations Resources. So do stay tuned. So now let us start with the content. So first part of course is going to be understanding what is Indian knowledge system. What is IKS? So Indian knowledge system is the collective body of knowledge developed in India over thousands of years in fields such as science and maths, medicine, then that would involve Ayurveda, and astronomy and cosmology, and yoga and philosophy, arts, music, dance, literature, metallurgy, agriculture, architecture, and several such fields. When we talk about core areas of the Indian knowledge system, it can basically involve all these. And to give you some examples, so if you think of philosophy or darshana as it is called, there is an emphasis on self realization or consciousness and the nature of reality, and it involves classical schools. Six of them, for example, one of them is Vedanta. Now, if you think of the core area of mathematics and astronomy, that is Ganit, uh, when you say mathematics, so there have been pioneers like Aryabhatta, Brahmagupta, Bhaskaracharya, and several concepts like the concept of zero or decimal system or algebra, trigonometry, planetary motion, eclipse calculations, etc., were part of this knowledge that India had that time in the core area of mathematics and astronomy. And then there is medicine, which mainly involves Ayurveda, and there are texts like Charaka Samhita or Sushruta Samhita, which are basically the knowledge has been systematized in these texts. Or there have been concepts such as Tridosha, which involves Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and holistic healing, or as mentioned by Sushruta, the surgery, uh, including cosmetic surgery. Then we have linguistics and grammar, so Vyakarana, as it would be called. And classic example is Panini's Ashtadhyayi. So it's a sophisticated grammar of Sanskrit, and it is foundation to modern linguistics as well. And there have been theories of sound or structure of language, semantics, etc. Then comes the core area of architecture and engineering. So, Vastu Shastra and Shilpa Shastra. And in India, we have several temples, forts, or even some towns which were planned with precise geometry, astronomy, and symbolism. Or there have been concepts of energy flow and aesthetics. So, all this comes under architecture and engineering core area. Then, of course, there is core area of arts and aesthetics, Natya Shastra. So we know that Bharata Muni's Natya Shastra, which is a treatise on drama, dance, music, and aesthetics, or there's rasa theory, so nine rasa or navarasa, basically denoting emotions like anger or joy or sadness, etc., etc. And it still influences Indian classical art forms. Then, of course, there are core areas of ethics, law, and governance. So, Dharma Shastra or Artha Shastra. And Kautilya's Artha Shastra is a wonderful example. in which discussions on social order, duties, economy, and governance are included. And it gives us a glimpse into early systems of economics, taxation, and even political science to a certain extent. Then there is core area of environmental and agricultural knowledge. So ancient texts contain sustainable practices in agriculture, water conservation, for example, step wells, forest management, etc. Now, after knowing the core areas, to come back to its role in NEP, NEP mentions that it promotes the integration of IKS, including tribal and indigenous knowledge, in curriculum at all levels. So that means it will be included in school textbooks, higher education curricula, vocational and professional education, research programs, etc. And so in order to do that, there have been some teacher trainings and to generate this awareness. Also special emphasis has been given for teachers who would be fluent in classical Indian languages such as Sanskrit, Pali, etc. And there has been an establishment of an IKS division under the Ministry of Education, and it is coordinated by AICTE, All India Council for Technical Education, which basically supports research in IKS, or it promotes cross disciplinary studies, for example, IKS in engineering, medicine, or environment, and develop IKS based teaching and learning resources. It would be wonderful to have blends, like, for example, blending of artificial intelligence with ancient logic, and environmental science and traditional agricultural knowledge, Ayurvedic medicine and biotechnology, etc.